Imagine a land with no rivers, no farmland, and almost no way to make money. A place so harsh that even animals struggled to survive the heat. Yet decades later, that same land would rise to become one of the richest and most influential nations on Earth. Before the oil wealth, before the skyscrapers and airports, this was Qatar. For centuries, life here was a negotiation with nature. Villages were small, water was precious, and the desert never showed mercy. The sea became the only way to live, and so Qataris turned to the one resource they had left: pearls. Boats sailed out into the Gulf for months at a time, and the divers became legends. They tied stones to their feet, plunged into the depths, and held their breath until their chest burned. They scraped their skin on coral and risked sharks, all for a single oyster that might contain a pearl worth enough to feed a family. The sea fed the people, but it also took them. Hospitality became sacred, that if a traveler arrived hungry, he was fed. Not because it was polite, but because tomorrow it might be you at the door in need of mercy. In a land this harsh, survival was a collective mission. Then the world shifted. In the early 1900s, Japan flooded global markets with cultured pearls. Almost overnight, Qatar's lifeline collapsed. The economy shattered, poverty deepened, and the future seemed uncertain. A tiny desert peninsula that once sustained itself with the sea was now left with nothing. The world barely noticed. Why would it? Qatar was small, quiet, and isolated. But hidden beneath the sand was a secret that would rewrite its destiny. In 1939, oil was discovered. At first, the news meant little. War was raging and exports were delayed for years. But once the oil began to flow in the 1950s, everything changed. Roads, schools, hospitals, and infrastructure emerged from a land that previously had almost none. The desert that once took from its people was now giving back. Yet oil was only the beginning. Qatar made a choice. It would not be just another oil-rich country. It invested in gas, built global partnerships, created a national airline, modernized its cities, and developed a sovereign wealth fund that quietly bought stakes in companies, real estate, and influence overseas. The world suddenly had to pay attention. From a place where water was more valuable than gold, Qatar became one of the richest nations per capita. From pearl boats to skyscrapers, from small fishing villages to global diplomacy, Qatar transformed itself in less than a lifetime. But beneath the wealth lies the memory of the struggle, a desert mentality that refuses to take prosperity for granted. More powerful stories are on the way, and you don't want to miss the next one.